Guys, okay, so I wanted to cover a couple more things as far as toys go and clarify a few things for you, as well as kind of go over a couple things now that we are using e-collar with him. Like I was explaining with e-collar, that now gives us a way to communicate with him inside the house when he doesn't have a leash on. As you already know, he doesn't display those same behaviors when he has a leash because he thinks, oh, it's time to go out for a walk. So I'm trying to demonstrate to you guys how it's going to look in a normal, just, at home with toys out and him just having them. So first thing I want to cover is when toys should be out. So you have already stated that you don't keep toys out in fear for the other dog or for your child grabbing them or whatever it may be. And that is spot on what you need to do. So as you can see, my toys do not stay out. They stay in a bin, covered and closed, so that I can decide when the toys come out, when it's appropriate for them to be playing with toys, and it's just kind of a chill time and a time for them to kind of hang out and play with their toys. Now, I never go up to a dog and just snatch a toy from their mouth. So not only is it just teaching Mac what you approve of and what you don't approve of, it's also about teaching your kids that it's not safe. Doesn't matter who the dog is, how well they've been trained. It is an animal, and you have to understand that animal instincts can happen no matter how well your dog is trained to understand. So instead of teaching Mac that it's, his normal reaction, like I said, he's not very aggressive about anything. He's very noisy, and he's just a big, stocky boy. So things might seem a little bit more forward or aggressive, if you will. But he's not doing any type of aggressive behavior where you really need to worry. So now that he has his e-collar on, you can see he's been hanging out, chewing on his bone and whatnot. So now I can do, Mac, come. Okay, so if he doesn't, oh, good boy, yes, good job. Okay, so doing a recall means stop whatever you're doing, okay, and come to me, right? So if he's chewing on his bone and you want him to release it, rather than trying to snatch it from him, you are going to, we have escapees. Come here, girls. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. So, perfect. He goes back to his toy. I'm going to try and get him all excited into, okay? So, I grab his toy, right? This is okay. That's normal behavior. If you hold it up in the air, he's going to jump and try and grab it. If he accidentally gets your fingers when he does that, it's not an aggressive thing. He's just a big dog, and we have to understand what's appropriate play. So if you don't want him to jump up at the toy, don't dangle the toy high up in the air. If you don't want him getting overly excited and playing with the toy like that with you, then don't play with him like that. Allow him time to have his own excitement. So even just to be safe, just to show you, I'm not going to put my hands near a dog's toy where they're chewing on it. That's just not safe. But even just to prove my point, if I put my foot near it, I'm trying to take it away from him. He doesn't care. Look at his tail. He thinks we're playing. This is all exciting. So he's not being possessive at all. If I misled you in any way to think that this behavior is only going to progress as he gets older, I apologize. That is not what I meant to portray to you. In fact, quite the opposite. If he starts to understand that these toys come out and they're specifically for him to play, and when I say, Mac, come, good boy, and he leaves, good boy, that's my man, okay, and he leaves the toy and comes to me, that's what we want to see. That is appropriate behavior. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, so like I was saying again, this is all good, playful behavior. Again, this is all just normal. Nothing to be worried about. Nothing that I feel like is anything to be nervous about. This is great behavior. This is all normal play. Happy. Tug of war is a good engaging game to play with your dog. Gives them physical exercise. Now you hear those little noises, and it kind of sounds scary, and those lunges and everything. That's not inappropriate behavior at all. Again, it's because I'm dangling it so high up. Again, I can pet him. I don't feel nervous putting my hands near him or anything like that. But you never want to, see again, it's not him trying to be possessive, it's him being playful. So it's nothing to worry about. Exactly what I've shown you so far. Mac, come. Yes, good boy. And just having him walk away from the toy. Now, if he doesn't walk away from the toy, that's when you'll use your collar on the second time. And I'll go more into when you're going to use your e-collar. But to give you an idea, you're basically going to use it the second time you call his name. So whenever we do a command, we don't just start spewing out commands where we're going to be like, come, and saying it over. Good boy. I'm going to use his name in repetition until I have my dog's attention. And once he's focusing, I can tell him what I want from him. So Mac. Perfect. I was glad he didn't listen. So, good boy. So if he hadn't listened one more time, I would have given him a tap. Now I'm going to go even down. We'll probably start about a 6 or so. 6 is a level I don't even feel the collar until a 12 or a 13 typically. So it's an extremely low level. He is not being hurt by it in any way. It's literally just a way for me to say, hey, I'm talking to you right now with just a stimulation. It's less than the vibrate. If you'll see, they have a vibrate on the side, which is just a test button. But yeah, it's less than that. It's really only supposed to be used as a way to get his attention. And that's how you're going to use it as a tool. So the people that get stuck on needing to use it forever are the people that say, all I have to do is grab this remote and he starts listening. That means your dog is collar-wise. That is not a good thing, that your dog respects the collar and doesn't respect you. That is why they unfortunately get a bad name, because people use them incorrectly. And what happens when you use it incorrectly is you're basically, I'm sorry, hold on one second. So many interruptions in this video. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so back to what I was saying, though, using his e-collar. We don't want it to be used as a punishment. So we don't want to say over and over, I've asked you to do something. I asked you to sit, let's say, right? And he doesn't sit. So then you say, sit, and you start tapping the button until he does it. Well, that means he's just doing it because he is unsure of why the collar is turning on. So you don't want it to be used in paired with commands. You want it paired with his name as just a way for you to get him to understand, hey, I'm communicating with you right now. If he's going to respect you as a handler, he's going to respect you with or without the tool. This is just a way for you to get your dog's attention. Simply that. It is not supposed to be used as a shock collar where you are shocking your dog into submission by, fear. It's fear motivation is what it is. That's not going to be beneficial to you at all. Your dog is only going to be working because they are nervous or they are scared of the collar because you're using it at too high of a level and they don't understand why it's turning on or how they get it to turn off. So they just you'll start to see them do like all sorts of things. They'll come, they'll sit, they'll lay down, they'll run away, they'll duck their head. Those are all sure signs of confusion. I don't understand why this thing just turned on. So if you make it very clear to them, I'm using it because I'm getting your attention. Now, if you have a leash on, it's the same way, right? If we have our leash, we can just give a little pop. If we don't have a leash right now, and I say, Mac, 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 good boy. Mac, come. Good boy. Yes, he's my buddy. Good job, him. Okay. That is how you want to use it. You can see I didn't even need to use it. That is how you're going to get your dog to respond to you and not need this tool forever. Okay, so you don't want to have him see you pick this up and be like, it's this thing that's doing that. That's what they're thinking. Oh, it's the remote that's doing this. And when that thing comes out, I better be on my best behavior. But when it's not on, screw it. I can do whatever I want. That's not what we want. So that's why I tell people you want to make sure that you keep your collar on. When you're in training still with him, your dog isn't going to come home completely, perfectly trained within 3 weeks of learning all of this. It is going to take repetition and practice and consistency on his handler's part for him to understand this is the new norm. Okay, so using your e-collar consistently. Put it on him first thing in the morning, leave it on him all day, take it off before he goes to bed at night and put it on charge and redo it all again the next day. That way, rules are always in play. They're in play from the minute he gets up to the minute he goes to bed. And you're going to notice you're not going to need to use it as often. You're going to start using the button less and less because he's going to start to respect the fact that when you call his name 100% of the time, it means pay attention and something else is to follow, right? So that is kind of how you want to think about dog training. It's really not my dog doesn't understand or he does commands when he feels like it. It's more about learning how do I get my dog's attention and get them to focus on me is the first part. If you can get your dog to focus on you, whether that be using a leash, using an e-collar, using treats, using verbal praise, using any kind of tool, a long line. It doesn't matter what the tool is. It is about learning in that situation, how do I get my dog to respond to me and focus on me. So again, just to kind of go back and pinpoint a few things, I would make sure you recommend and teach your son the safety of having a large breed dog. I don't feel worried about him, but again, see, all not nervous behavior. He doesn't feel threatened like I'm going to take his toy. He's not growling because he doesn't feel threatened by it. If you do these exercises where people try and practice taking them from their dog, you're telling him, I'm eventually going to do this. It's not going to make him feel more comfortable with him. It's going to make him think every time you come over to him, are they going to try and take my toy away? I don't want to take his toy away. I want him to have time to lay and enjoy and chew and be a dog. So I'm not trying to say I'm going to take that from you. It would be very similar to going over to like a kid that's really into building his Legos and you go over and you're just like, I'm going to take this piece, or you kind of start knocking it over and like almost messing with them. They're going to get frustrated. They're going to be like, stop, don't do that, no. Same thing with a dog. They don't want you to take that toy from them. But if you need your kid to walk away from the toy, you're not going to frustrate them, right? You're just going to say their name. And you're just like, come here a second. So the same thing with Mac. Mac, come. Good boy, come. Good boy. Good boy. So I'm going to move. Good boy. Okay, so if your dog doesn't come the first time, I'm going to kind of move a little bit, Mac. Okay, so Mac. Good boy. Good job, Ham.